Welcome back. Okay, you don't set the information will be saying that they might table be say Bakassi Peninsula deadliest soldiers don't wipe out the Cameroonian soldiers. So of course, those people where they there for Bakassi Peninsula and then they call BNG, Biafra Nations Guard. Some of them they call them Biafra militant soldier, and the rest of them, according to the information where they my table, they don't wipe out the Cameroonian boys. Them, you don't share a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all of us of freedom all over the world. Welcome back to this wonderful channel. It's a new year, a brand new year, 2024. You can add whatever you wish into the new year, speak it, and it will become yours. As it be, if not the first time we say the carry body chook for this wonderful channel, kindly go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share, and also remember to all your notification buttons so that whenever our news is dropping, bamba, get in, you go be the first. We'll collect them. Let's go to the news proper, make you hear the full detail of the information. It be like say Biafra blood, they carry last. Bakassi, deadliest Amber soldiers wipe out scores of Cameroonian soldiers and ordered. Deadliest Amber and Biafran attack on Bia's army wipe out scores of 103 Cameroonian soldiers on eve of Christmas Day 2023, including 22 ex-Ambazonian fighters recruited from DDR Center to join Cameroonian military. Genocide Republic of Cameroon forces suffered massive damages in the Ambazonian force strike. A top Bia military general whose name I withheld for security said up to 103 Cameroonian soldiers were killed by Ambazonian liberation forces in 1 week across Ambazonia, including 22 ex-Ambazonian fighters recruited from DDR centers to fight alongside Cameroonian invading forces were killed in this deadliest Amber attack. 6 armored vehicles, 2 South Africa M77 artillery system, and a French Caesar artillery were also blown up in Ambazonian massive explosion in last week to Christmas. Rising dead, Cameroonian soldiers littered droves and bushes across Ambazonian liberated areas and farmland. Some dead Cameroonian soldiers buried in mass grave across Ambazonia. Ambazonia Biafraland Alliance is producing incredible result that is giving Genocide Republic of Cameroon pepper soldiers a run for their invasion of Ambazonia. Una don't see as the hot as the hot, una don't see as the shell. It get one thing where we say it surprise me for this matter. Wait till I want carry mouth put. I want carry mouth for this matter. Make you see as it be me. It can't be as if say God they carry power, big power. They give to small countries. Small countries where we say they know to get strength and power to the fight for themselves. Of course, you know that as it be, many these big nations they like oppress the small ones, especially when they want to say it is time for us and we want to now have our freedom. Give us freedom, let us go. Now, on the other hand, I'm wondering what the bigger nations are actually doing with the freedom they are seizing from other smaller nations, which is very bad. Now it has happened in many countries, not even only in Biafra, only the Ambazonian Biafra nation, only the Ambazonian and Cameroon. It has happened between Nigeria and Biafra before 1967 to 1970, and which is still up till now is still rising like bread. Because one thing about some of these things is that these governmental parastatals or those who are in power, they always feel that if they seize all means of power, that by this means they will be able to silence those smaller nations that are fighting for their freedom. But forgetting that whatever that concerns freedom and one getting his freedom is, first of all, is spiritual. Secondly, it is transferable, and thirdly, it is hereditary, because it is blood. If my blood is wants freedom, and in my heart I want freedom, and I have not given birth to my children, remember that those my children are in my loins. They are my sperm, and those sperms represent me. So when I give birth to these children tends to carry a percentage of my lifestyle, a percentage of my thought, a percentage of my desire, a percentage of what I want, a percentage of my character, because they are the one. I am the one who give birth to them. So, and now when you give birth to them, and also they see what you are fighting for, and you start explaining to them and the rest of them, you have transferred that knowledge, that spirit into them, and you see them fighting without stopping, because they have had the history and they actually want freedom. If we go back before the colonial masters, how the Africans, the people were still living, I thought that had it been that the colonial masters, that removed, greed and of gathering all the mineral resources, jamming them here together, because what some of these colonials did is divide and rule. Divide and rule is not in essence of dividing them. You might not see the division, but a kind of psychological brainwashing that has been given to a particular people against a particular people, and those particular people are living with it, letting them know, don't allow these people come into power. If these people come into power, they are going to show you pepper. Don't allow these people get their freedom. Or once they get their freedom, look at what is going to happen. And that is a brainwash. And when many people are brainwashed like this, you see them fighting tooth and nail, making sure that the other people don't have their freedom. And as it is, where I'm looking at is how God, Chukwokabia, my God Almighty, is doing it. That when these smaller nations are fighting for themselves, even after they are beaten, buttered, and battered, you see them still rising. For example, what happened 1967 to 1967 to 1970, after the Nigeria Biafra Civil War. At the end of the war, what is his name? The then head of state, Gowon, declared no victor, no vanquish. Of course, you can check that particular English, no victor, no vanquish, in your dictionary and see what is it. Let's go. Let's say what is the meaning. What is the meaning? What is the meaning of no victor? Hold on, I'm with you. I'm trying to, let's go to this lecture together so that we can learn no victor or no vanquish. Let's go and see the meaning. You will be able to understand the meaning of no victor, no vanquish. Now, my information said at the end of the war, the victorious Yakubu Gowon famously declared no victor, no vanquish, and made it clear that, let's see the full detail of that information. Let's full detail of that information. They say there has been a lot of fighting on Twitter about one of the less discussed outcome of Nigeria brutal civil war, which lasted for about 30 months from 1967 to 1970. Now, at the end of the war, the victorious Yakubu Gowon famously declared no victor, no vanquished, and made it clear that the aim of the federal government was the reunification and reintegration of the former citizens of the rebel Republic of Nigeria into the Federal Republic of Nigeria. While, as with most things Nigerian, there were probably good intentions. We have a good habit of being long on rhetoric and short on actual practicals. In this regard, the treatment of the bank holdings of the former Biafrans has become a painful stinking point even half a century later. During the war, the government of Nigeria concerned that its own currency was being used to finance the war efforts of the rebel, changed its currency and mandated all all old money be changed to the new notes before a set deadline, after which all old notes would be null and void. The Biafran government, not to be outdone, also mandated a change of currency, introducing the Biafran pounds and criminalizing the possession of Nigerian currency within its territory. This presented problems for the citizens of Biafra as they were quite oblivious, unable to travel to federal territory to comply with the directive following the war. The federal government directed that all invalid currency notes held by former Biafrans be presented to the central bank for conversion to the new currency. Once this was done, however, the federal government then directed that the sum of £20 be paid to all Biafran bank account holders, regardless of the balance of their account prior to the directive or the amount of cash they had presented. Married reasons were given for this flat payment, ranging from loss of record to persons presenting invalid Biafra pounds for conversion. It has been argued that those who presented old Nigerian pounds for conversion received full value. This latter position, however, is false. Una don't see as it happen. I don't know if you want make I take my time to bring you the full details of what transpired between the 1967 and 1970. It is a history that we cannot look down on. All those histories must be touched, and our children need to know what actually transpired then. Of course, you know that history was sometime removed from Nigeria educational curriculum, and I was wondering why all these things happen, and also why is Nigerian flag not bearing red? Because they have fought war sometimes, but they hid all these things, made the flag to be green, white, and green, just agriculture and peace, and the rest of them, and all that and that, making Nigeria and those who are leading them to be a good set of people before the European. Of course, you know that those people also were the ones who sponsored everything between that 1970 to 1967 to 1970, the sponsor of the Soviet Union and the British. And in that particular situation, the Americans were silent. They were neither saying nothing or saying anything. And they believed that Nigeria was the responsibility of the British, so they don't have any need of coming in when they are not called to come in. Meanwhile, this is where I'll be winding down the curtain, and if this is your first time of joining us on this wonderful channel, kindly go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, share, and also remember to all your notification buttons so that whenever our news drop, you will be the first. We'll collect them. Meanwhile, as it be, if you want the full detail of what transpired then, hit me up on the super chats and we'll talk there.